Thank you everyone for being here. We have forward Courtney Brown. Andre, you want to kick us off?
Sure. Thanks, Courtney, for speaking with us. I just wanted to ask you, I've obviously the basic question. I know we heard you talk about it a little bit in a video the Spirit posted, but want to talk about you returning to Utah and what this will mean and how much family you might have there.
Hi, yeah. I will have a ton of family here. I am guessing I might have around 100 people. So I am from here. I grew up here. I went to school here, and my husband is also from here and grew up here. And so with the two families and all of our friends coming out, I might have close to 100 people, which is really special. I'm really, really grateful for the sport.
That is amazing.
Yeah,
100 people.
I know.
That's wild. And given like that you're one more question about Utah and then I'll step aside. But given that you're from here, has there been, since this has been the team's first trip to Utah, has there been anything in particular that you've either wanted to do or wanted to share with your teammates while you're back?
Yeah, so we had a pretty special experience yesterday. We got to train at Ute Field, which is the home field for my college that I went to. It was super fun to be back. It felt a little bit funny. It was like all my new friends were in my old life. But it was still a special experience. My coaches, they put out my senior night flag out on the field. I was number 16 in college too. And so they put out my number 16 flag for me because they knew I was going to be at the field. So that was a pretty special moment for me.
Nice. That's awesome. I'll step aside, but I do have one more question. So Sam, I'll circle back.
All right, Annie, Peyton, or Stacy, any questions for y'all before we go back to Andre?
I can ask a question if that's okay.
Go right ahead.
Well, first of all, I was gonna ask, will your 100 supporters be rooting for Spirit or Utah?
Oh, they're Spirit supporters for sure. They'll be in Spirit gear.
Curious about the possible home field advantage. I also wanted to ask about, obviously, a lot of your teammates have been out of training this week for the international break, and how has it been to kind of train with maybe a different, smaller group as you prepare for this game?
Yeah, it was definitely different because we had less numbers. But we still got after it. We got to work. The group that was at the international break, the group that was gone, obviously they were working hard with their national teams, and I mean we were chugging along at home as well. So it's nice to be back all together again. It's been a minute. We've missed everyone. We're happy to be back together as a group, but like all of us have been working hard. So
Thank you.
All right, we'll go back to Andre.
All right. I just had a question about like you, of course, drafted, come to this team, which is undergoing a lot of changes for this season, of course, and system and style. We've seen you kind of play a couple different roles. I'm almost not even talking about positions with this team. It's just roles it seems that certain players play on the pitch. But from your development between college and now, it's only been a few months, but what have been like the biggest things that you've seen, the biggest improvements in your game since being here for only a handful of months?
That's a great question. I feel like the league is so different from college, and so there's been a lot of adjustments that I've been trying to make and have had to make. You're right, I've played in a lot of different positions and had to play a lot of different roles from week to week, which has been super it's been super great, and I feel like I've grown a lot in them. I think the biggest jump from college to the league that I've experienced is the physicality and the speed is really what it sets the league apart from college. And that's something I've had to adjust to. But I think it's going well. I mean, the team is physical, like, so we get a lot of physicality at practice. That's been helping. So yeah.
And how have you specifically tried to adjust to that? Has it been specifically like trying to make decisions quicker? Like what has been the thing to focus on to kind of cope with the speed of the NWSL right now?
Yeah, I mean, it's less touches, it's knowing where you're going to play before you get the ball. And then it's also using your body, like to body somebody off the ball, using it to shield the ball, invite the pressure to come to you so that you can, like use your body to protect the ball. It's a lot of like being strong, I guess.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
And Stacy, go ahead and wrap us up.
Hi, my name is Stacy. How are you today?
Good. How are you, Stacy?
Great, thank you. I was just curious to know, what is it like interacting with some of the other members of the Washington Spirit, and what are some of the things that you're able to learn from them with being a part of the NWSL, and just being able to, I guess, like pick their brains and I guess like step up your game from college to the professional level?
Yeah, I mean, I feel super blessed because we have such a fun team. Like we have a lot of really fun, really kind, like just genuine people on the team. So it's really easy to connect. And I think we have a really special group. We have a really great group. And obviously that's an intangible that is hard to find sometimes. And I really think that we have that. We have that edge on other teams by having such a good locker room. I mean, players that have helped me a lot, I feel, have been Ashley and Andy. I look up to them a ton. They have just been like so great to support me. I've learned a ton from them about how to be a pro and how to play at this level. But I mean, it's not just them, like almost the whole team I've learned something from. We have a great group. So I feel truly lucky to have this group as my rookie team.
All right, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Courtney. We will be right back with Adrián González.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Good luck tomorrow.
Thanks.
Thank you.
All right, everyone, we have Adrián González. Andre, you want to go ahead and kick us off?
Yep. Thanks for speaking with us, Adrián. Been a minute. I wanted to ask about just typically how training has been. I know you were without probably a few more players than you expected, but probably gave you some time to work with some others. So how was training during this international period?
Hi. Well, actually, it was good. Training. We could focus more on the individual part, especially last week. We had, of course, less players available, but I think it was a great opportunity to focus more on details. Try to, of course, give also players whatever they need in that moment in terms of physically, mentally, also tactically. And yeah, we focus on their development in terms of their individual development, and I think that was pretty positive. They could rest also, and yeah, now this week again we are now all together with national players that came the other day and ready again to compete.
Appreciate it. And I wanted to talk about Utah specifically. They have had a rough start to their season. And I know during this international break, they probably had quite a bit of time to try and change things. And of course, you're the first opponent after that. Does that make this game a little bit more, I guess, a little bit more nervous about this game and the way it might go, given that you might not know exactly what to expect, given a team with such a troublesome start, and also this time to kind of help change things around?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be a tough game, to be honest, because we are coming from a different week, weird week, if we can say it like that. So with less players and also with that break, a lot of national players that weren't here, so we haven't had maybe enough time. But I think it's also a challenge to us to get ready in a few days. So I'm happy the way that the players also are just connecting again in terms of what we need, game plan. So maybe we don't need that time right now to prepare the game. So maybe just adjusting some details. They get it pretty quick. And I'm sure Utah, for sure, they've had more time to prepare the game, but it is what it is. So I'm expecting a difficult game. They are playing at home. They need to win. They are changing also the formations. So last last game we saw that they changed the formation. They play with 3 center backs, 2 wing backs. Tejada, the new center back from Spain, she came and she debuted. So yeah, we are expecting maybe different options, and we need to be ready because again, it's gonna be a tough game.
Appreciate it. I got another question, but I'll step aside.
All right.
Annie, Peyton, or Stacy, any questions before we go back to Andre?
I can ask some again. Hello, Coach. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Good to see you.
Good. Good to see you too. So I think my first question is, with so many players who were out for the international break, and a few of them played 2 games in the past week, how are you kind of managing, not necessarily their minutes, but like, fitness issues and just making sure that they get some rest time?
Yeah.
And all that.
Well, having good communication with them, knowing what they need, and also they could rest Wednesday because they were traveling here to Utah, and yesterday we didn't do anything to be honest. So just recovering again, treatments, asking them what they need, and also trying to reduce as much as possible the information, because also when we talk about the game plan, also what we want to do, that's another fatigue too, mental fatigue. So they are coming from the national team, especially US. We know new coach, maybe a lot of information, new information, a lot of expectations. Yeah, media. So that's also another factor that we need to consider. And I think now we have really good communication to understand what every player needs individually, because every player is completely different. And from that, so we can adjust, but try to let them rest as much as possible, recovery. And today we have another training session just to activate a little bit, to be ready and compete again.
Thank you.
All right, and back to Andre.
Oh, Peyton has a question. Sorry.
Go ahead, Peyton.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Sorry, my internet wasn't working, but I think I got it figured out. I was just wondering, kind of, you touched on people coming back in, coming out, not having the full group, but from what you've seen, and you've talked a lot in recent weeks about the need for rest and kind of like needing more rest, having the kind of back-to-back games. How much of a role do you think, I guess, the fatigue that you have with some players coming back in impacts the overall big picture when you do have a more rested side with the players who have had more time? Do you think that those kind of even out, or how does that impact kind of the image of the team as a whole?
Well, it's not easy, to be honest, because I think every player, as I said, is completely different, and the impact that they have in terms of fatigue or trainings and every stimulus. So it's completely different how every player manage that. So again, try to know every player as much as possible, because, for example, I don't know, I don't want to say any name, but some players maybe they need I don't know, just recovery. They need something completely different than the other ones. Other ones maybe they need to touch the ball a little bit more, or they need maybe to review the game plan more. Other ones maybe they don't need too much information. So as a coach, you need to know what every player needs. So as a whole, I think also it's important that now, for example, we are together. It's been a while, but the other day when we were here all together, we see each other again. So all the people were so happy. The environment also that we have here as a team, I think it's really positive, and it helps also players to recover. Like, okay, we are fatigued or we are tired, but again, we are together. We are getting ready for the game, and we have really good vibes here. So I think that's another positive thing to help players to get ready for the game.
right, and back to Andre.
All right. I had a couple of questions. One just on the international break. I was just wondering how much or if you watched any of the internationals. I know Spain, a lot of teams in Europe are playing, but also the US. How much were you able to watch over the break?
Yeah, I watched some of them. Not all of them because I was recovering from I had surgery 2 weeks ago, so I was kind of resting. But yeah, I could watch for sure Canada and US. I didn't watch Spain. Now I'm more focused on our players. So yeah, I think it was positive because especially with US, I think people are really excited now with this new project, new era with Hema. So I think it's really positive also to us as a club because the feedback that players gave us is really positive. So I think the playing style also that we are trying to build here, it's gonna help them when they go there because they have a lot of information here in terms of tactics. So it's easier to understand what the coach demands. So I think that's another point. And yeah, I think it's positive. I think I said so. As many players we have representing the national team, I think it's really positive to us as a club.
Yeah, appreciate that. I wanted to ask kind of a big picture question because Barcelona still has a game this weekend, but I think their final one is next weekend. So in advance of, Feraldez showing up, how are you kind of preparing for that as we're in June and it's getting closer?
Yeah, well, he needs to finish there. So once everything is done there, so we are gonna make that transition. Now, he won, or the Barcelona won everything for sure, but they still have some games to play. So he's still focused there. Once everything is finished, so we are gonna make that transition, I think, easy. And yeah, we don't know exactly when he's gonna come because it's not easy now to just come straight. So they need to finish the season there, and after that you'll know when he's gonna come and how we are gonna do it. But I think that's gonna be pretty smooth, that transition.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Coach. We will see you all tomorrow night.
Thank you.
Yeah. Good luck
Thank
tomorrow.
you. Good luck.
Thank you, guys.